Thank you all for being here. For those of you who don't know me, Connor Johnson's my name. I have the good fortune of having the title of Director of Training and Development at Hatch Realty. And I also, of course, do Hatch coaching work, coaching people around the country, and really diving into training systems and how agents can build up their business for the better. In my time, I have the good fortune of training our new agents, our existing agents, and I find myself in a lot of cases wanting to provide some big, grand, masterful brushstroke of a change, a huge innovation that'll just change the stars. And I found that that is a Herculean task for people to take on sometimes. To make a total change overnight is not always the most realistic thing when it's this giant concept. One of my favorite people out there as far as minds is Malcolm Gladwell. I don't know if anyone's heard of Malcolm Gladwell, but he had this powerful line that bowled me over. He finds power in specificity. He doesn't like big things. He likes small, specific things. And that's what wows him in life. And that's where he believes the magic happens. And it's so true. Like, you don't get to Mount Everest with one giant leap. You put in tons and tons of steps to make this magical thing happen, in which you can say, I summited Mount Everest. There's nothing magical about it. It is just getting your steps in. It is specific behavior. So I've really been getting in the game of getting specific implementables that can improve your world, improve your business. And today with our time, I want to get specific with you and give 5 subtle pivots you can make to your world that I believe will accumulate to some positive progress for your business. How does that sound to everybody? Sound interesting? I can't hear you. Just kidding. You're all on chat. So let's start with subtle adjustment number 1. Subtle adjustment number 1. This is a general habit change based on how we communicate with people. If you have not read Never Split the Difference, I highly encourage you get that book. It is about the art of negotiation. Chris Voss is an amazing mind, a former FBI hostage negotiator, and he has these amazing tips and tricks. And the number 1 takeaway for me from that book was to change the way we ask questions of our clients, the way we ask questions of our leads. We often ask questions and we want to get a yes out of people. But here's the problem with that. When we're setting up a good argument, a good point, and we ask a question that we know they're going to have to answer yes to, what we're actually doing to our clients and leads is we're trapping them. They know they're supposed to say yes to these questions we're asking them. And that is a danger because we are trapping our people in a corner, and that will make them resentful of us. This is a subtle psychological phenomenon. When they feel trapped into saying yes, there is resentment and not buy-in to the conversation we're having with them. So something we need to do is we need to change our language and get people to say no to us. That sounds counterintuitive, but think about it this way. When I ask you, are you opposed to changing your search criteria? That no that they can give actually protects their autonomy and their sense of freedom. They are not backed into a corner when I rephrase a question like that to go for a no. So my first subtle adjustment for you, you got to change the way you ask things of your clients. Ask questions like, are you against or are you opposed to? Are you opposed to sitting down and talking strategy before we start looking at houses? Are you against getting your pre-approval done before we look at a house? So on and so forth. People's no's in this context protects their autonomy, which actually creates a stronger commitment to what they're saying to you. It is this Jedi mind trick, and it has avoided a lot of conflict when I started to adopt it by asking people, hey, are you opposed to trying to show up on time? Well, no. Okay, great. They have opened the door to me figuring out how I can make sure they're not late to my trainings. Versus saying something that can come off as condescending, like, hey, do you think you need to be showing up on time for these? And they're backed into a corner. They know they're supposed to say yes, but there's some resentment there. So go for the no with the way you ask questions, gang. Are you opposed to get people to say no and protect their autonomy and their freedom? Quick nugget here. When I get through all these subtle adjustments, all 5 of them, I'm going to try to make sure there's time for clarifying questions in the chat to make sure you understand these nuances. Sound good? I'm assuming everyone says thumbs up. So that's subtle adjustment 1, and that works in consultations, in showings, in negotiations, when you're talking to your client about the right offer. Make sure you go for the no. Subtle adjustment number 2, for every client, for every lead, and I mean legit leads you have, come up with a communication standard. What the heck is a communication standard? It is defining what good service looks like for that particular client. It is finding out how they prefer to communicate, the frequency within which they want to hear from you, and the time of day they're best available. Naming that with them and starting to talk strategy about how you like to communicate with each other can help get people bought into working with you if they're on the fence. Because you're taking the partnership so seriously, you want to strategize your partnership by defining proper communication protocols. Now, here's something important to keep in mind. Regardless of what they tell you, whether it's reach out to us once a week, whether it's, reach out to us when you have something, you should be in the business of one-upping that expectation. And I see a question here from Andy. I'll come back to that, Andy, at the end of this. Sound good? Well, actually, I can do it right now. Good point. The 3 are the way they like to communicate. Sorry, that threw me off there. The way they like to communicate, the frequency within which they like to communicate, and the time that they are available for communication. Those are the 3 there, Andy. And whatever they say to you, one up the frequency. Thank you for that, Joe and Natasha. So if they say once a week, do twice a week. If they say call me whenever, make sure it's once a week. Under promise and over deliver is the mindset we want to operate with. If they say twice a week, do 3 times a week. And how do you make sure you honor this? Any of these standards should be put into your calendar. Well, if you're going to put it into your calendar, you need to have protected time blocks where you can consistently follow up with them. And we're going to cover that in subtle adjustment number 3. So subtle adjustment number 2, come up with communication standards and one up them and schedule it. Well, the way you can do that is if you implement subtle adjustment number 3, which is get permission from all of your clients to be unreachable for a set amount of time. Get permission from your clients to be unreachable for a set amount of time. What the heck does that sound like? This is one of my favorite conversations to have with clients, and it sounds something like this. Joe, it is an absolute honor that you're trusting me to be your agent. I do not take that lightly, and I want to work my butt off to serve you well. I hope you can understand that I'm pretty darn good at what I do, and I have multiple clients. And I am not interested in answering my phone for the needs of one client when I'm showing you a house. When I'm in front of my client, I'm giving them undivided attention. Now, to keep my head on straight and be sharp for you in those moments, to make sure I'm sharp for all my clients, the best thing I can come up with is to have protected time where I am unreachable. With that unreachable time, I'm on top of my systems, my searches. I am making sure I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants agent for you. So Joe, with your permission, can I be unreachable between 8:30 and 10 a.m. to make sure I'm sharp for you? And what percentage of people say yes to that? God darn 95 to 98% of people say, yeah, that's fine. If you name the expectation and why, and then ask their permission, people will tell you, yeah, you can ignore us for a set amount of time. I have talked to realtors around the country about this, and I love later on when they rave about how easy this works, how the vast majority of their clients give them permission to be ignored so that the agent can focus on some important things consistently in their week. like consistent follow-up, as named in that subtle adjustment 2. If someone wants to hear from you once a week and you schedule it twice a week, these little time blocks you've protected can make sure that's scalable. Can you imagine a world where you have an hour to 90 minutes of untouchable time? You can do that for yourself by setting that expectation and getting buy-in from your clients. And sure, there's going to be 2% or so who are not okay with this, but we do not create habits because of the exception. We will not let our proper and important behaviors be set by the few clients who will be tough to work with. We will work with them, but the vast majority of the time, we will be protected by our clients, or from our clients, I should say. If you cannot make the time, it is hard to implement just about any new pivots. So this might be the most important subtle adjustment, getting that buy-in from your clients. And now you have permission to not pick up the phone and focus on what you need to do right then and there. So there you go, subtle adjustment 3, permission to be unreachable. Heck, if this is too intimidating to get 90 minutes, consider just asking for an hour, even half an hour to try this out. Moving on to subtle adjustment number 4. I don't know about all of you, but this market has been wild. It is competitive. It is cutthroat, dare I say, where there's multiple offers, homes going well above asking price. And I have run into countless scenarios where agents try to tell their clients it's a wild market, and they still have to go through the pain point of their agents under offering and writing losing offers. And it takes maybe 3, 4 of these losses before a client finally gets it. I think we can avoid this, gang. We cannot, as realtors, just tell our clients, yeah, it's a crazy market. We should be in the business of regularly sharing market stories. That's subtle adjustment 4. Be in the business of regularly sharing market stories. On a regular basis, we should tell our clients, hey, so there's a house that actually went on the market about a month ago that's very similar to what you're looking for right now. It was listed at $270. How many offers do you think it ended up getting on day 1? And ask them that. Have them critically think, well, I don't know, 3? No, there was 8. Holy cow, 8 offers in 24 hours? Yeah. Do you know what the final price was? Do you know what it actually sold for? And engage them to think about it and guess, so you can blow their mind when you tell them, yeah, it went 25K over asking price. Let them critically think about these situations that have happened in the past, and don't wait for it to be their situation on the actual house they want to write. Give them countless scenarios that have happened and gather these from your teammates, gather these from your own individual past experiences. And on a regular basis, slowly engage your clients about all these different scenarios that have happened to get them to truly understand the market they're in. And hopefully when they're ready to write their first offer, they truly know, because of those stories, what it means to compete and get a winning offer. Do not wait to let them suffer through multiple losses. Try and expedite that by explaining and sharing some market stories. All right, subtle adjustment number 5. Subtle adjustment number 5. Showings are a part of this for our buyers, right? I have had countless experiences and heard from many realtors who lose out on a portion of their clients because they start looking at houses. It seems like it's going great. And then they slowly realize that the client's criteria is going off the rails. They were looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-stall garage, and it was a 1-story. And now they start getting showing requests for a 3-level split that's got 4 bedrooms, 3 stalls, 4 bathrooms, 6 bathrooms. Now I'm getting silly. And you start to realize that what you think your client wants and what they're sending you is not in alignment. I think that's where we often feel stuck with clients, and we maybe stop responding, we stop communicating well, they start ghosting us, and we lose out on clients who've committed to us. So when we're showing clients homes, one thing I like to do at the showing, at the very end of the showing, is to formally wrap the showing with a question for our client, which is, did viewing this house help advance our search today? Did viewing this house help advance our search today? You're looking for your client to give feedback that evolves the search and makes you feel like you're making progress. For them to self-identify that they no longer want one stories, and to tell you that face-to-face helps you revise the search and feel like you're making progress. This could be about the price range. Hey, I noticed we've been looking at all these price ranges, and you consistently have been saying these are way too pricey. After viewing this one, would you agree that we've evolved our search by reducing the house we're looking for by 20, 30K? What little progress can you make after every single showing? And it's not being pushy or rushing them. It's telling them that I want to evolve the search with you, so we're making progress and really making sure we're in alignment with what you're looking for. Subtle adjustment 5, wrapping a showing with, did we advance the search today? Is there anything we've discovered to advance and make progress together? Ensures alignment and clarity and good communication with the clients. There you go, gang. It's that simple, right? 5 subtle adjustments you can make to your business. Adjustment 1, the are you against? Are you opposed to get no's out of people? Adjustment 2, to define communication standards and one-up it. Adjustment 3, getting permission from your clients to be unreachable for a set amount of time. Adjustment 4, to share market stories regularly to get them educated about the market faster. And then adjustment 5, wrap showings with a, did we learn anything to advance the search today type of question. These little client care tidbits can make the difference in retaining the client base you have, instead of saying, oh, this is getting hard, I hope the next appointment will be better than this. That is how you can grow your business. Short and sweet, gang, nice and specific. I see a question coming in here. What's your feeling about what did this showing teach us? What did we learn by seeing this house? Andy, I'm curious if you can expand more. What's your feeling about what did this showing teach us? What did we learn about by seeing this house? Is that a type of question? The phrasing? Well, I think the phrasing is great. It's the same thing. There's a countless number of ways you could deliver it. You just want to wrap every showing with, yeah, are we evolving? Are we moving forward? And however you want to phrase it, those couple of ways of doing it is great. Any other questions people have about these 5 adjustments? Any other questions? They're fabulous. Thank you, Joe and Natasha. They are so subtle and so simple, and dang, the devil's in the details, right? Tiny adjustments. Anyone have any objections? Any mental block for any of these 5? I want to hear them all. How do you book a single follow-up in your calendar? I have blocks of time for 20 to 30 at a time. Good question, Andy. So I think I'm following your written out question. If we can create time blocks that are protected from our own clients, we can get into the habit of scheduling set amount of time for lead gen and follow-up. And those follow-up buckets, again, if we get buy-in from our clients that we're unreachable between, let's say 9 and 9:30, 9 to 9:30, Monday through Friday, 30 minutes of follow-up, Monday through Friday. Well, we should have follow-up buckets. There should be a follow-up bucket for Monday, a follow-up bucket for Tuesday, so on and so forth. So someone wants to hear from you once a week, and the last client's once a week follow-up was put in the Friday bucket. Well, you wrap that new person around to the Monday follow-up bucket. So every Monday, you're going to honor that once a week expectation by following up with them that day. If they want to hear from you twice a week, great, put it in the Tuesday and Thursday bucket. The point is, you should be able to divide and conquer all of your clients by bucketizing your days. The Smiths, they hear from me on Wednesdays. The Jensens hear from me on Thursdays. The Olsons, that's twice a week, that's Mondays and Wednesdays. And we dive into a focused 20 to 30 minute Pomodoro time block. That's just where we focus on that one task at hand. And it's quick voice to texts. I love voice to texting for follow-up because most people are going to want to text. If it's a phone call, yeah, those are rare, but those will require some time. And if you can set the expectation with your clients that it's going to be a quick follow-up and get their buy-in on that, that can help you actually set up 3 to 5 minute calls at most for the rare phone call clients. Andy, am I answering your question for you, or am I missing a piece of your curiosity? I would say in this day and age, Andy, I think it feels like we're, gosh, 75% text versus 25% call. You know, Gen Y is the majority of buyers now, and they certainly prefer texting, followed by, of course, Gen Zers. Gen Y is the majority, and they want texting. Any other questions or curiosities? Bucketize your day. I love it. Thank you. If you can protect the time, you can create these consistent blocks to do that type of stuff. Andy, that's where you are. Most of my clients text regardless of age. There you go. Texting is the media that's preferred. I think one thing I want to name is when it's time for a crucial conversation, voice to voice or person to person is so important. But the majority of follow-up is not necessarily a crucial conversation. So texting is fine in my book. What other curiosities or questions do you all have? The are you against, are you opposed to get no's? The defined communication standards and one-upping them. Permission from your clients to be unreachable. Sharing market stories to educate your clients faster. But did we move forward today post showing line? I don't know how many questions there might be because, gang, you just got to implement them. They're pretty straightforward. So I will pause a little longer for any follow-up questions. How was this? I want to hear from more of you. Was this valuable? Has this been helpful for you? I win all the footballs in the background. Those are our Hatchies. If you're a fan of The Office, it's like the Dundies. So every year we give out Hatchies, which is some inside joke. I love wearing cardigans, so most of mine are cardigan jokes or dad jokes because I love a good dad joke. So those are my Hatchies up there. Pretty fun stuff. That's how I feel too, Joe and Natasha. Black and white, just got to do it and get into the habit of doing it. Here would be my homework for all of you, which you didn't ask for, but hey, here we go. Start flexing these muscles and go back to your last, let's say 10 days worth of clients or leads and define that communication plan for them retroactively. Go back to those last 7 to 10 days worth of people and give them a market story for their knowledge sake. Put those 2 subtle adjustments into practice as you continue to chew on how to implement these throughout the business going forward. Start with those. And if there's nothing else, gang, I am happy to wrap, get you back to your day. Thank you for this time. And please, please, please implement those subtle adjustments. That specificity will do you good. Thank you, everybody.